Are you seeing my screen? Okay. So I'm just going to record this section. Yeah. Let's give it a minute. So our recording has started, and then we can kick off. All right. Thank you. For this section today. To be fair, I was just about relaxing, but yeah, I think we can crack on. Well, today we are going to be looking at solutions. Solutions in Dynamics 365 CRM. I think so far we have been looking at a lot of areas of CRM. We've looked at model-driven apps, creating our first, creating dashboards, creating tables, entities, forms, views, and things like that. So we have even looked at the sales module and everything around quotes and all. But then all of these things are all components, solution components. That's what they are called because you can add them to a solution. That's the reason why I call them solution components. And today we are going to be looking at the word solutions because we have mentioned the solutions, you know, before. So now we want to actually look at what that solution is. Okay. Uh, so the agenda for today is pretty straightforward. We're going to be looking at the overview of solutions, what are solutions, the importance of the solutions, what are they used for, what can we use it for. We can then look at managed solutions and unmanaged solution. Then we'll look at default solution, custom solutions, and then how to migrate solutions between one environment and the other. We might not be able to uh, fully look at that because give me a minute. Let me try and log into our environment, okay? Oh gosh, what's my password? Can't remember. Just give me a minute. Just trying to find my password details. I'm just gonna bring this out here and then look for my password details. Okay, I think he's logging in now. All right, that was fast. Previously it wasn't this. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I'm going to go into this environment because this is the one we created, right? That we have been using for our test. So this is Power Platform, Maker Portal. We call it the Maker Portal. So solutions, this is found in this section. If you want to create a solution, so when you go to make the Power Platform, right here on the left on the menu, left hand menu, you see solutions. This is solutions that we are referring to. So when you hear us say solution, this is how to. This is where you find solution, and then you can create a new solution. You can even import solutions from one environment to the other. Okay, are you ready? Okay, cool. That's fine. In the last section we had, I didn't mention that Power Page is just our Power Apps component, basically. Power Platform is like a broader name, is the umbrella name for Power, Power, what's the name? Power Apps, Power Pages, Power Automate, Power BI, all these things are Power products, Microsoft Power products. They are all Power platforms, they are all different products. Power Pages, like the name implies, pages, Power Pages, it's just for pages, like website, custom pages, that you can use to run like a website or whatever you want to do. So it's used to collect information like registrations, like a portal. It's like you can use it to build a portal, you can use it to build a website, things like that. Uh, Power Apps is just these are applications, you know, like model-driven application, Canvas applications. These are all under Power Apps. So Power Apps itself is an application, while Power Pages for pages. Okay, those are the two major differences. Now, back to what we're looking at today. Uh, yeah, solutions. So we already know how to find solution, right? We already know. So you can see, right, just by looking at it already, you can see we have unmanaged solution and we have managed solutions, and we have just give it a minute, it's loading. So these are all managed solutions. You can see this is a brand new environment, and you can see all the solutions are all published by Microsoft itself. These are all published by Microsoft. Um, so nothing has been published here. We can publish our own. So these are unmanaged solutions. Okay, let's do that for now. We'll get here. We'll get to that side. We'll fly into it. So think of a solution as what? A package. Or solution itself is a container. It's like a container that groups together all our customizations, all our components, so that we can move those components from one environment to another. Does it make sense? So if take it as a container, so you have a container, you put things inside that container. You can put a pen, you can put a book, you can put everything inside that container, close the container, so that you can move that container from one place to another. You get? So the same thing with solutions in CRM, right? It is like a container because it is my solution. If you open the solution that I created, you will see all the components of this solution inside the solution. So it's like a package. You are packaging something together. So, when you want to when you want to import or export something from one country to another, you package it. So that's what we call it, a package. So all these that you're seeing here are all components of this solution. This solution is called my first solution, and these are all the components. So this is a table. Consider these are table. We have two tables inside this place. If you expand the table, you will see columns. We have these columns inside this table, all of them inside this solution. You can also have sitemap, a sitemap, which is what we created, the application we created the other day, if you remember. Look at it, it's right here, applications here. You can have so many things. You can have a Power Automate flow, a flow like an automation inside your solution, so forth and so on. So in total, we have four components basically inside this, four major components inside this solution. Does it make sense? Hello? Oh, sorry. Is it better now? I don't know. Is it better? Can you hear me better now? Okay, so you understand the concept of solution and what a solution is. So if you're asking what's a solution is just it's like a container that is used for packaging components, solution components together. Components can be tables, can be applications, can be sitemap, it can be flows, can be anything that you can think of that you can put in there. So you package those things together inside the solution. Why do we need to package these things together inside the solution so that we can move them from one environment to another environment? Okay. So what are some of the components that we can have in a solution? You can have a plugin inside the solution. You can have a workflow. So for example, if I go into this class flow, I've say, for example, this is automation. You can have this. You can have dashboard. You can add a dashboard inside your um, solution, whether it's a Power BI dashboard or any type of dashboard. You can have an automation in here or workflow, whether workflow, action, business process flow. You can add them inside your solution. You can add your pages, power pages. You can add your canvas app, everything, whether custom or whatever. You can add them here. You can add your rule, your SLAs, things like that. You can add security rules inside the solution so that you can move it from one environment to the other. So usually, when you are doing solution migration, remember as part of the agenda about solution migration, that should be the last part. So when I said move it from one environment to the other, you normally build your solution or you develop your solution in a development environment. From a dev environment, you then move. So let me bring up something here so that I'll make it easier and clearer for you. So, uh, so we have, uh, this will be better. Oh, just give me a minute. I'm just trying to increase the fonts. Yeah, never mind. So this is dev. This is a dev environment. You can then have other environment. This can be uh, uh, private test. Depends on what you call that. Then you can have UAT. These are different environments, okay? And then you can have production, okay? So when you are migrating your solution, when you decide after you have configured your solution, for example, this environment is we just call it Chisom, right? We can create an environment called dev. We can have another environment called so currently now we have the default environment and our normal environment that we created. We could have created 4 different environments, okay? So you can have your dev, you do all your development in here, you create your solution, add your component inside, once you add your component inside, once you are once you are ready and sure that everything is done, everything is tested, that is ready to go, you migrate that solution into test environment. Now the test environment needs to be tested by testers or by testers or depending on the actual size of the environment of the organization. So if you are in an organization where you have just you don't even have testers, so the CRM and technical guys, technical analysts or functional guys, functional consultants or whatever, they will probably need to test that solution in here in this environment just to be sure that it's fine. Then, but ideally, in a standard ELM process, you should have tester, even if it's just one person like a tester in that environment. The person tests that solution that has been developed, and the person will say, yeah, everything is working, nothing is broken. Then you migrate that solution again to UAT. This is user acceptance test. Okay, this is where the business user who you are developing that solution for, they will need to test it and say, yeah, we are happy with what has been developed. We are happy for it to go into production. So once they have signed off, they have to sign off this, they have to sign it off. So once it has been signed off by the user, whoever it is that sponsors that project or the requirement, and say, yeah, it goes into production. You migrate that solution into production. Once it goes into production, you can do a regression test just to be sure that nothing is broken because sometimes no two environments are the same. Okay, so do you understand the process flow of solution migration? So it goes from there to test to UAT and to production. I've seen some organizations they don't have this, They just go from dev to UAT, from UAT to prod. I also seen some organization, they just go from dev straight to prod. They do all their testing inside this dev, but that's not best practice. You should actually migrate it through, and then that. Sorry. So I understand. I think I understand you, but I think it's two different things, right? So that's when we're talking about sales, that's the application itself, right? Now, if you want to make a change to that application, want to make a change, it's because currently now we don't have two environments. If we had two environments, I would have been able to show you that solution deployment. I think we can do it, to be fair, if maybe in another section I'll show you how to actually do the migration, okay? But we'll do everything about solutions today, just to be up to date, okay? So if you have an application, and for example, you have an application where, let me just play this and see. So you have an application in it says like a sales application, and you want to make a change to one of the table, maybe or to the form. Okay, so you go into your development solution, and the first step is you create a solution. Okay, and then when you create a new solution, you give it a name, you give it a publisher, a version, and then you add the components. Remember, I've talked about components. Any of the component that you want to make a change to, you add it, and then you deploy it. Okay. Let's first of all go in here. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, the network is a little bit poor, so it's just just bear with me. Okay, so now let's open this. This is a oh no, let's open the close one. I didn't publish this again the other day. All the changes we made. Oh gosh. Yeah, I didn't do that again. So let's just use contact. Come on. Okay, so this is contact. Now this is the contact form, right? The contact form, we can do a lot of things here. For example, we can do an automation. We can add a component to our solution and say, whenever the person has a job title of developer, we want to set the email address as dev at dev at yahoo.com. Okay, we can do that automation, and then we'll use a solution to show you what we are doing. But let's not digress yet. Let us finish what our solution is. So now we know what the definition of a solution. We know what a solution is being used for. We know the components that we can add to a solution. You can add web resources. You can add anything you want to add. Environmental variables, connections, connectors, or things like that. Um, the next thing we want to look at are uh, why is solution important? Why do we need to do this? I've briefly mentioned some of the things. For example, we want to transfer or move our customizations from one environment to the other. Okay. Example of customizations. Okay, let's not get it yet. I think let's look at types of solutions. I think we should start with types of solutions. Remember, I said this is for managed solution. This is managed solution. So that's major types of solution. Managed solution and a managed solution. Now, what is the difference between a managed solution and a managed solution? Managed solutions basically are those solutions where our components. So these are solutions where you add the components in the solution, you can manually remove those components from the solution. Okay, these are the types of solutions. For example, this solution, this is our managed solution, this particular solution. Okay, we can We can manually add a component to it. We can manually remove a component from it. So let me do, for example, let me go into this solution. So these are all the components of this solution. Let's add, I want us to add something. So let's add a table. Let's add one more table to this solution. So you can add existing. Let's just add existing. Oh, remove security roles. Should be security roles. Let's add security roles. So you see, I'm trying to add a component to this solution. Oh gosh, it's so slow. So yeah, let me just add this security role to this solution. I'm just going to add it. So you see, it has added the security role. You can see it is security role. It has added it to this solution. If I want to remove it, I can just remove. I can say remove from the solution. Okay, I can remove it. This alone tells you, by you being able to do this, it tells you that this is a managed solution. Now, if it were to be a managed solution, you will not be able to edit that solution. When I mean edit, you can't manually add anything. It's like a package. It is fixed. It's just like I don't know what I can easily use to explain this. There are some items to buy. They are joined together. Like it's like you bought a TV, like a plasma TV, a flat screen TV. Most of the components of that TV, ICs, um, all the components, the power circuit and things like that, the screen and everything, they are all coupled together. You know, if something spoils in there, you can't decouple it. You can't compare it with olden days TV that we used to have. You know, that has the tube inside, and it has several components inside, like those you know, the capacitors and the transformers, things like that inside the TV. If any of those components are bad, you can remove them and fix them and replace. You know, so the concept of a managed solution and a managed solution is that a managed solution, you cannot edit it. Once you export that solution and or you deploy it into an environment, nobody can make any change. But an managed solution, you can make a change after you have created it. Does it make sense? So, for example, these are managed solutions. If I open maybe one of these solutions now, you'll see what it will tell me. Uh, you can see right by opening it, see what it says at the top here. You cannot directly edit the objects within a managed solution. If the managed particular solution objects are set to allow customization, you can edit them from another unmanaged solution. So if you want to edit any component inside this managed solution, you have to go to the same this solution, but the unmanaged version of it. Make your changes and bring it back as a managed solution. You can't make changes inside of it, okay? I wish we had our second environment to have been. We'll get to that part to now. We'll still get there. The only difference that I cannot do it on this video at the moment. So that's what a managed and unmanaged solutions talk about. So importance of solution, move our components from one environment to another. You can work as a team. So imagine you guys are two in the department, two developers, CRM analyst or developer, whatever. Both of you can collaborate using this solution. So you can create a solution and you tell the person, look, we have a project Z. Let both of us work on this particular project. Okay? Or if he has something he's working on and you have something else you are working on, you can create a separate solution for yourself and both of you can work in two different solutions. Remember, I said solution is it's like a container. So it helps you to contain what you are working on so that you don't have conflict. Does it make sense? Yeah. So it helps you to keep your work organized. It helps you to version your work or your application. For example, if you look at this solution, it has a version. So this is version 1.0.0.0. You can see this one has a version 1.0. You can have different versions for your solutions. So it help you to manage the version. So for example, if I do a change this month of June, I can call it version 0. If I make another change to this solution in July, I can call it version 1.0.0.1. You get it helps you to manage your work. Okay. You can roll back. So for example, if you do something, if you migrate this solution into production and something breaks, maybe the users are not complaining, say, something has changed, somebody has made a change to this thing, it's no longer working. You can easily roll back by changing it back to the previous version it was working. You can roll that's called roll back. Okay. And definitely you can package your applications together and then you can ship it out to your customers. Okay. Okay. So now that we know what the purpose of solutions are, we are talking about manage and unmanaged solutions. These are the two types of solutions we have. And we know what difference are. This solution we cannot make a change. Why this guy you can actually make a change. So let us create solutions. So before we create solutions, we have to know what are the publishers. Okay, so let's start by creating a solution so you get what that means. So this is new solution. I'm going to create a new solution. I'm going to give it a name. I can call this test one. Now, if you look at here, it said what publisher. So what is a publisher? The publisher of that solution is like the author of the solution. It's like the person that created the solution. Okay. So how do I put it? So it's like it's a name thing. Okay, you can say that's a name, it's not a problem. It's just a way of identifying who created that solution. For example, you can see here we have default publisher, CDS default publisher, default publisher for the particular organization. So it's like who is the author of that solution. That is what a publisher is. Publisher is the author or the owner of that solution. Okay. So we can create our own publisher. So to say create a new publisher, we can call it JSON. Okay. JSON is the one that created it. I can copy this and just put it here. Okay. You can add the prefix. The prefix is just the word, a convention that a naming convention that comes before the solution. So we can just call this chip. Okay. So that's the prefix value one. So this is how it will appear. So any solution we call, for example, this is the prefix chi, which is chi, is the prefix. Underscore the object. What is the object? Is the JSON or whatever you want to create inside that solution. Whether it is a form, a table, a column, that chi will always come before that the column. So if I create on save, it means I've created a publisher. So what it means is that anytime you are creating a solution, you can choose a publisher as JSON so that whenever you are moving your solution from one environment to another, you can easily tell where that solution is coming from. Do you understand? So if for example you create a solution in your own environment and you want to share that solution with me, the moment I import that solution into my own environment, I can see the publisher. So I easily know that this solution is coming from Henry. You get Microsoft also has theirs. So let us create this solution. Okay. Look at the date it was created. You can configure the page if you like. And now, one thing you need to know by default, every solution that you create in an environment is an unmanaged solution. It will be an unmanaged solution. It is only when you are moving that solution from one environment to another, you can choose to export it either as a managed solution or an unmanaged solution. But by default, when you are creating a solution in an environment, it is always unmanaged. Make sense? Hello? Okay, so let's create this solution. So we have created a solution. You can see, if you go back now, you can see the solution I created, test one. You can see it was created this time. You can see the version. You can see the publisher. The publisher is Chisom. Okay. So you can see the publisher for these other solutions. Yeah, here. You can do a solution check and you can see if it is connected to source control. But basically, the most important thing you need to know here, like publisher, the version, and the name. Okay. So if I go to manage solutions, you can see these publishers are what Microsoft. So all the solutions that you are seeing here, all the solutions, they are all deployed by Microsoft and they are all managed. Okay, which what happens is that you can't edit them. That's just the difference. So we know what managed solutions are. We know what unmanaged solutions are. We know that when you create a solution in an environment, it is always unmanaged because it is under unmanaged. We know we can change the version, and publisher is always what we set it to be. Okay, so if I export this solution out of this environment, and I want to bring it back into this environment, the publisher, because it's different publisher, it will not, you won't be able to bring it into that environment. Okay, you can only move it and take it to a new environment. Now, that being said, let's look at some of the characteristics of managed solutions. What are some of the characteristics of managed solutions? Number one, you can edit it. Remember, we have mentioned that it is editable. So when you create a solution, you can always edit it. Number two, you can add a component to it. You can remove a component from it. I've mentioned all of this. Uh, managed solutions are always used in a development environment. Remember, we talked about development environment here. Okay, we talked about development. So most times, your unmanaged solutions, you build your managed solutions inside inside your dev environment. This is where you do your development. The reason why you use managed solutions is because when you are developing something, you can make error, you can make changes. So you can move components, you can add components. Remember, that's the characteristics of managed solutions. That's why it's usually done or used in a development environment. Uh, if you know that, then another characteristics for managed solutions is that you cannot easily uninstall it. Okay, when I say uninstall, I wish we had. You know what? Let's try and create another environment here. Let's see. Let's see what we can do because we need to see how this works. So when I say it cannot be uninstalled, so this is a solution. If I want to remove this solution, I can still delete. Okay, but when you are deleting this solution, the components of this solution will still remain inside the environment. That's what I mean by cannot be uninstalled cleanly. Because in a managed solution, the difference between a managed solution and a managed solution is that because a managed solution is like a package that comes together, you cannot edit it, you cannot remove components, you cannot add components. If you try to delete the managed components, you are going to delete the solution. All the components that are inside that solution will also be deleted. But in a managed solution, when you delete the solution, the components will still remain inside the environment. Does that logic make sense to you? Yeah. So that's why when you are building a solution, so when you are doing when you are moving a solution from one environment to another, it is always advisable to move that solution as a managed solution into that environment because if you need to make a change, it is easier to do it as a managed solution. Not that you can't do it as unmanaged, but you have to go into the solution and then manually remove all the components before you delete the solution. Let me just this is messing me up. Let me just create a new environment and see. Looks like I can create a trial. Uh, I don't know. Let's just pick something. Okay. Let's see. Um, If you manage the law and the storage, I can probably put this. Example. It's flexible. Yep, can put this here. Secret no, always required. So let's put none. Uh, let's just save it. Oh, I didn't deploy the sample data. Okay, now we are creating a new environment. So this is Chisholm and this is Chisholm. Okay. So once this finish creating, before we finish, we will do the deployment. So I think that's fine. Now, where was I? So we're talking about characteristics of unmanaged solution. We talked about editing it, adding and removing components. It is not clean to remove to uninstall because you want to manually remove all the components inside the solution before you delete it. That's how to cleanly delete that solution. Okay. And we said what a managed solution is usually used in which of the environments. If you can remember, which environment do you manage or unmanaged solutions? Which environment do you usually use unmanaged solution? Yeah, show me there. Give me what? Hello. Okay, cool. Now we have talked about managed solution. Now let's talk about managed solution. Um, what are some of the characteristics of a managed solution? A managed solution cannot be edited. Remember, unmanaged solution can be edited. A managed solution cannot be edited. You can look at by looking at it, you can see there's an edit icon next to our managed solution. But for the managed solution, you can see a padlock. It means that you can't edit it, it's locked. So every component of these solutions are all locked. You can't edit them. So it is read-only or it is locked. You cannot easily modify the component directly. You have to do it via solution deployment or something. You can upgrade a managed solution. You can upgrade it from one version to another version. Okay. You can uninstall a solution, a managed solution. Remember, I told you, I said for a managed solution, when you delete it, you are deleting the solution and all the components inside of it. So you can uninstall it. But for a managed solution, you have to manually remove all the components. Now, a managed solution is ideal when you are working with what? Test environment, UAT environment, production environment. So for this guy, these are managed. This ideal. So it is ideal for use in these three environments. This is where you use managed solution, or this is where you should be using a managed solution because this is where you make your changes, manage changes. Anyways, so that makes sense. Okay. So those are the characteristics of a managed solution. Any questions so far? Before we keep going? Does it make sense? Any area that's not clear? Look at managed solution. We are looking at managed solution. Now, there are two type of, or there are other two solution types that we need to look at, or we just need to mention it. These are uh, custom solution and default solution. Okay, give me a moment. So the custom solution and default solution. So if I go back to manage here or manage, if you see here, this is called default solution. What is a default solution? The default solution is that solution that comes by default. So when you create an environment, this default solution comes with it. So if I look at this environment that I just created, I think it's still created. Let me refresh the page and see. It is ready now. So let's just go into you know what, let's just do it this way. So we are going to change the environment to Chisholm. Okay. And go to solutions. You can see by default, when we created this environment, this new environment, by default it came with this. By default from Microsoft. It's an embedded solution. It contains all the components for that environment is found inside that default solution. Every environment has one, one default solution. So you can see this environment has a default solution. This other environment has its own default solution. So by default, all environments has one default solution. Okay? Now, I also mentioned that it contains all the components in that environment. So if I open this default solution and I go to components, I will see all the components for this environment. So if you want to see everything you want, so you can see all these components, everything. You can see custom APIs, you can see, your dialogues, things like that, your reports, everything you are looking for, you can find it. Look at tables. We have 551 tables. If I go into this environment, if I go into the default environment, how many components do you think we will have? Will it be less than 551 or will it be more than 551? How many tables? Hello? Yeah, because we have created some things, right? So you can see how many tables we have here. 1659 tables. So, so yeah. So this is where you see all your components. Okay. Uh, you cannot easily transport any project changes. It's not advisable for you to make changes using your make changes inside the default solution. It's not advisable. You shouldn't be doing that. It should be left on its own, okay? Because this is default. You can also see the version 1.0 telling you that this is the origin, the origin of everything, okay? So just for your own knowledge, just in case you start working on solution, don't customize your default solution. Now, what is a if that's clear, what is a custom solution? A custom solution is a solution that we created for a specific purpose or for a specific project that you're working on. Remember, I just created test one. Test one is a custom solution because we just created that. Okay. So if you want to work on a specific table, for example, inside this test environment, if I want to work on uh, a particular cable or a particular security rule or flow, I will just add that flow into this solution and I will just work on that flow. What that means is that this solution is peculiar to that particular project. Does it make sense? So we call it a custom solution. So technically, they are kind of a solution. They are kind of they are kinds of solution, not types. Because the types of solution we have is managed and unmanaged, and we know what those they are. Now, the kinds of solution that you can have is custom and then the default solution stuff. Now, now that being said, let's look at solution layers. Solution layers are basically um, how solutions are sitting, how one solution is sitting on top of another solution. Okay, uh, if a solution is sitting on top of another solution, how should it fit? Let's. I'll bring up this thing again so we can just see. I can just clean it. To be fair, I can just clean up everything. Okay. Could have just rearranged everything there. See, see. Okay. Assuming this is a solution. Oh, color red. But so far, does it make sense to you though? Let's assume this is our solution and we have layers. Let's let's go back here. Okay. So let's say this first layer is, let's call this the default solution. Remember, all environment has a default solution. Has one default solution. Okay. And the default solution is what? It's an unmanaged solution. This default solution is an unmanaged solution. And all environment has one of it. So that means each environment must have a default solution, which is unmanaged. Okay. Now, if you are deploying a solution into an environment that has an unmanaged solution, which is default, how do you ensure that the changes that you are making doesn't overlap? That's why we call it solution layers. It's like a layer. If it's layer one, layer two, layer three, and four, thereabout. How do we ensure that our solutions are sitting on top of each other in a way that it doesn't cause conflict, or in a way that to ensure that everything is working as expected? If, for example, we have a solution here called uh, test one. Oh, sorry, this shouldn't be. If we are deploying this test one, it's a solution called test one, and we are making a change to the contact table. Okay, remember the default solution has all the components. You get? So that means it also has contacts. Okay, and this is unmanaged. This contact is unmanaged. It's because this is the default. The base solution is the default solution. It is unmanaged. And then we make a change to the contact table, and we are then importing that solution, which is this, into this environment, Chisholm or Chisholm, I don't know, whatever which one we are calling it. How do we ensure that this solution that we are bringing into this environment does not conflict this contact, does not conflict with this contact? That's layer. That's what's called layering. So the solution layer is how do you arrange the solutions in a way that there's no conflict between them. Okay, that's what we're talking about. So there are two ways you can import a solution into an environment. Remember, we said that's what we started by when we talk about creating a solution. Now let us export this solution. Oh no, let's do it in a way that let's do it in a better way. So yeah, uh, how do what I'm just thinking, how do I show you the example? So let's go to this test one and let's add a component in there. We are going to add a contact, okay, so that you see it, how you see how it actually works. So we are going to add a contact. I'm going to clear this. I'm just going to add one component. The component that I'm going to add will just be I'm just looking for something that I can add. Hmm. Let's add the address to city. Okay, I add that. We can also add. Oh, I've cleaned it up. Let's add address one. Let's add a view. Let's add a view. Let's add the which view should we add? You know what? Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Let's add the table, contact table. We are going to create the component ourselves. Okay. I think that's the best way to do it. So let's do it from scratch. So we have added a table. Okay, we've added this. We are going to create a column. Let's create a column. That's a field on this contact table. We're just going to call it uh, test. Let's go to that test. We're going to add a view, test view. So we're going to add columns here. Let's just add things like city, you know. So we're not creating a view here, to be fair. Email, sorry, gender, first name. We just created a test. Yeah, that's fine. I add the last name. Yeah, it's not here. Okay. So we're going to save and publish. So we are adding components to that solution, okay? Basically, that's what we are trying to do. So I want to explain what solution is. Because solution is one of the most important concepts of solution layer is one of the most important concepts of solutions and of development. If you are doing development, that's one of the most important concepts because any mistake you make, you have messed up that environment, you have scattered that environment. Imagine you make a mistake in production, you have that production is yeah, you have to do a whole back of the change you have made, otherwise you probably mess up everything. Um, so now we are using a contact table for it. This is our example. Okay, and this is our contact table. We have added it to this solution called test one, and this has components. We have two components in here. Now, we talked about this diagram and we said each environment has a default solution that has, for example, contacts and is unmanaged. Okay. Now, if you install another solution with on top, let's assume this solution that we want to install. This test one that we just saw. Let's assume we are going to install it as a managed solution. Okay, on top of that existing solution, that creates a layer, a managed layer. They call it a managed layer. So let's assume this is going to be a managed. So this solution is going to be a managed solution. Okay. Remember, this particular solution layer is unmanaged. This one becomes managed. So a managed layer is sitting on top of another layer which is unmanaged. What do you think happens? Now, okay, what do you think happens? This solution layer will be merged. Both of them will be merged together. Okay, they will be merged together. This guy will be override. So this guy will sit on top, but the components of this managed layer will be merged to this managed layer. Now, imagine if you add a third solution called test 3, and this one is unmanaged, and you make another change to the contact table. The same thing happens. It will merge all these three together and create what? Layers. It will create layers for you in solution. Okay? Because a managed solution, this particular solution which is managed, is sitting on top of another solution which is unmanaged. Therefore, making the components to join together. So the managed solution will sit will like it's going to compress it. It's going to compress or manage solution, but the component itself will merge together and create a layer on top. So the effect of this, or I'm trying to explain that the effect that remember an unmanaged solution will have to manually remove the component from it, right? Now, if you want to delete this contact from this uh unmanaged solution or let's assume it's a custom table that you created and you want to delete it. It creates what solution dependency. It will not allow you to delete that component because it will tell you that there is a dependency that has been created because of this managed layer that is sitting on top. Okay, this this one is sitting on top of this one. This one is sitting on top of this one. Well, in a situation whereby let me just check it all out. Oh, sure. Okay. In a situation whereby you just created a managed solution here, this is just a managed solution, and you deploy it into this environment two. So this is cheese zone. This solution is coming from environment one cheese zone. Okay, and you are deploying it on environment two cheese zone. Okay, this solution will sit on top of this solution. At any point in time, if you want to remove the component of this solution, you can just delete the solution and your environment remains clean, intact. Next time, if you want to import another solution on top of this one, you can import it as a managed solution. It sits on top. It also sits on top. It's like remember, managed solution is like a container that it cannot be edited. It's like a standalone solution. So anytime if you have one, two, three solutions sitting on top of each other and they are all managed solution, it will not cause conflict because like it's all of them. But if you mistakenly go and put another solution on top and this solution is now unmanaged, that is where you will create that layer, that active layer, because it's active layer. It's like a customization on top of that, and then that creates dependency. Next time when you are trying to delete maybe this solution or this particular solution, it will not allow you to tell you that there is an unmanaged customization that is sitting on top. So that's why you have to version or you have to manage your solutions properly so that uh, you can easily delete them when required. Okay, I'm not sure that is clear to you. Is it? Okay, let's let's let me try and clean up this. So the idea here, or the message I'm trying to pass across to you is we have unmanaged solution, we have managed solution. When you are deploying your solution, you have to have a solution strategy as the IT guy or the developer guy of that organization or whatever. If you have an environment, for example, production, remember we explained this thing earlier that managed solutions are usually used in UAT, test, and production. While a managed solution should be ideally used in development. You should bring to managed solution into your production. But I've seen a lot of organizations doing it, but it's not the best practice. The strategy that I'm trying to that what I'm trying to explain to you as a strategy is that you have to plan whenever you are doing solution release, decide how am I deploying the solution? Is it unmanaged or managed? If I have a default, remember the base, the foundation or the base of all organization is what default. Abi? And it is unmanaged. Therefore, if I'm bringing any solution on top of this default, you should be aware what is going to happen. If I bring solution one into this environment as managed, there will be no problem because this solution is going to perfectly sit on top of this. If I bring solution two as managed, there will be no problem because this guy is going to perfectly sit on top of this. The reason why I said perfectly is because if at any point in time there's an issue with this solution, you can just delete it and nothing will happen. It will allow you to delete it. If I bring solution 3 on top of this and I want to delete it, it's fine. It can allow you to delete it, no problem. Does it make sense? That's what the benefit of having managed solutions now. They are sitting on top of each other as a layer. Take it as a rock. One rock is sitting on top of another rock. Another rock is you can easily just take this one out, take this one out, and then the bottom of this at the bottom is the default solution, which is unmanaged. Now, scenario two, you have your default solution. Then you are bringing unmanaged solution one on top of this, and this solution has contacts table in it. Yeah, because this is unmanaged and this is unmanaged, both of them will interlap, it will lap together, and intertwine together and create a layer called active layer. Now, at any point in time, you try to make any change, or like you want to delete that contact from this base solution, or you added this as an unmanaged solution, and then you use another solution to bring in an unmanaged solution again of contact, it will create another layer. So if at any point in time you want to delete that particular component, you need to first of all remove that active layer first before everything can be cleaned individually. Now, if it is the same solution, it's a different thing. It's just going to lap together. Okay, okay. I think I'm digressing a little bit. I'm going to another direction. Let me know what complicates it for you. Just see it as sorry. Okay. Now let's assume I have a solution here. Test one. This is test one. It contains contacts. Okay. Now I want to make a change to this contacts table, and I bring test one from environment one, Chisholm. Okay, test one from another environment, Chisholm. The same solution as this solution that you are seeing that is sitting on top of this guy. What will happen? Remember, this is unmanaged, and I'm bringing this as unmanaged. This is coming as an unmanaged solution from test one, from environment one, and I'm bringing it into environment two. The same solution. It will just lap, fall on top of this and lap on top of it. It basically, it will not create another solution on top. It will just, the layer of this guy would join to the layer of this, but it will create customization on it. That's what it comes from. Hold on. So this creates this unmanaged layer. So it creates that unmanaged layer on top. Now, scenario two, if this solution here that is sitting on top of this solution is a managed solution, test one, and you bring test one from environment one as a managed solution on top of this, it will lap, it will fall on this, it will just slap on it, and it will not create that active layer because it's the same solution and it's coming from, you get it's the same solution, like join it to just create a perfect, that active layer will not form on it. So it will be perfectly fitted. So look at it as test one, sitting on test one. But when you want to delete it, you're not deleting two solutions, you're deleting just a single solution because you deploy this solution first into this place, and you deploy it again into this place, but it's the same solution. Okay. If that is said, let us look at, let us go back and see. So now we have created a solution and we have a component here. This solution is called test one. This is JSON. Let us export this solution. Now we want to export this solution. So remember, I told you when you are exporting a solution, you can choose to either export it as a managed solution or unmanaged solution. You can even see recommendation here. It says it is recommended that you export this solution as managed. And this is where you change the version. Remember, I'm talking about version. So version is just a way of saying, I've made this change, I'm making another change, I'm making another change. Do you understand? It's just a way of you identifying, controlling your solution release or version control, basically. So we are going to export this as a managed solution. It probably will take a little bit of time, but let's see. So you can see it said currently exporting this solution. Okay, so we are exporting this solution from this environment as 1.0.0.1. Remember, environment 2, there's no, that solution does not exist. This test 1 does not exist here. Hope you can see that. Okay. Yeah, let it. Once it finish exporting, you would see it. Um, Probably will take. Should it's just we just have two components in there first. So this is a manual way of exporting these solutions. When you get to the advanced stuff, we'll see how we use pipelines. We'll get there. We'll show you. So you can see this solution. It has successfully exported, and you can see here we can download it. Okay, so you download it. So it has downloaded as a zip file, zip zip file. So now we have exported the solution from this environment JSON. We want to import it into environment JSON. Now let us import it. We'll come here, click import, choose the solution, and we pick that solution on God, you import it. So this solution was extracted from a full environment which has a complete, yeah, because this environment that we created is not a dynamic full dynamics environment. So yeah, I understand what they are saying, but let's just import it anyways. We're just using this as a learning guide. It's not really like we are doing the rating. So basically, what that is just telling us is that this environment too is not a full dynamics environment as this one is a full dynamics environment. That's all the uh, details. So yeah, let's not worry too much about that. So we are importing it into environment two now. Okay, are you still with me? Okay. So, okay. So just assume that we are moving this from development to production. Probably going to take about 3, 4, 5 minutes. So you can see it as important. You can see it as imported successfully. Yeah. Remember, we imported this solution as what? Is it managed or managed? Had we exported it as what? So what we imported to this environment? What we imported into this environment is a managed solution. So that means we go to managed and then we will see it here. Does it make sense to you? Well, exactly. So in environment one, it is managed. This solution is unmanaged. When we moved it to environment two, it was now what? Managed. So if we go to test, if we go to the component now, we'll see that it says, it will tell us here that this solution is a managed solution. We cannot make changes to it because it's coming from another environment as a managed. If you make any changes to this solution, it will create an unmanaged layer. So basically, what has happened here? That's what I was trying to explain to you earlier. So if I go back, what has happened here is just simple. This is basically what has happened. This is the default environment. This is unmanaged. So in this environment too, that's what I'm trying to say. This environment too, this is Chisholm. This is the default solution. This is what we are seeing here. It is unmanaged. This is the base. We then imported this managed solution, which is this on top of this environment. So this is test, which is what managed. Now, if we mistakenly make a change, so if we go into this, for example, we can't even do it from here. So let's where is it? We are in Chisholm. If we go into this, uh, let's create a new solution here. I'm about to show you something. The reason why I'm trying to do this, I want you to see what is going on. And this, I think this is where we'll probably have to stop because I mean this is the last part. Let us add contacts. No, that's view table contact. Okay, let's add a component. Let's add views. What is the view? We created something. We said test view. This is it here. You can see it's managed. If we add it here, so we are creating another inside this JSON environment. Remember, the managed one is here. This is the one we just created, which is unmanaged. Yeah? We want to make a change on that view. So you see how solution versions or solution layer, how it works. So let us add something. Let us add country. We have added country here, so we'll save and publish it. So what we have just done is that we have now created another solution called test 2, which is unmanaged. This is unmanaged, and this is test 1 managed, and this is the default unmanaged. We are putting unmanaged customizations on top of a managed deployment or managed solutions, and the managed solution is sitting on top of a default solution which is unmanaged. Do you understand this what I've just drawn here? What that does is it creates a solution layer on top. If we try to if we try to go back to this managed, let's try to go here. So let's check solution layer, or so see solution layers. You can see it here. Maybe this is not the right place. Okay, this is it. So now solution layer, what does it say? There's layer 1, there's layer 2. Layer 1 is coming from test 1 JSON, and layer 2 is coming from an unmanaged layer called default publisher. Remember, that solution that we created, this test 2, the default publisher is what? CDS default publisher. Do you understand? This is why you need to know. This is why publisher is important. So you see where that change, that customization is coming from. Okay. So let's go back in here. Let me go back and quickly explain this part of it. So see. So basically, we just going to see solution layer. You can see layer 2. It's unmanaged. If I try to delete this solution, it's going to tell me no, that you can't, because there's an unmanaged customization on top of it. So you can see the label. This is the label. So if I try to go back and delete this solution, let me try and delete this. It probably will let me do this because I created that solution directly from inside this environment. If I deploy this from an entire environment, it would have given me that dependency error. Ideally, that's what you to tell you. To tell you that there's a dependency, that this this on that layer, that unmanaged layer that happened is coming from this particular solution. Do you get? That's where it is. So it will give you issues. If you try to delete this managed solution to give you that solution issue. Okay, that's the thing I was trying to drive out here. So that's what I was intending, because yeah, that was I created that solution directly from this environment. If I deployed it from another from this previous environment, that's probably not gotten that error. But you can see that I just deleted that solution. That is the advantage of having a managed solution. A managed solution, once you delete it, you have deleted it. If I go in here, I probably will not see that component, because that managed solution has deleted it. So you see it has deleted it from it. The view was here, it has been deleted. So that's all about solutions. So the best practice, always version your solution, always version it. Have different versions. It helps you to know where your changes are coming from. Always create a custom solution for every project you want to do. Create a new solution and do it with it cleaner. Then always back up your solution. Try to back up your development solution, so that you can always make you can always have a master. Then always do a solution checker, version controls, or source control, sorry, and things like that. Yeah, so that's about that. Uh, any questions?